One of the most important things in Power Rangers is the theme of each season, as that will define the style of most things. The costumes, the Zords, the powers, the transformations, the weapons, and many other things will be driven by the theme. Let's make a list of the top 10 themes in my opinion, but first we should mention that Power Rangers doesn't choose the themes, as that comes from Sentai. Since this list will be based on my opinion, I invite you to mention your top 10 themes in the comments. One surprise is that at the end of this video I'll be showing a theme I've been creating that I wish you could one day create in Power Rangers or Sentai. Number 10. Power Rangers Zeo is one of my favorite themes, and it is based on ancient civilization. That's why they use pyramids, gold, and textures similar to the stone drawings that come from those civilizations. It is a little sad that the Power Rangers costumes are so basic, since a style like this could have been squeezed much more, and this was demonstrated with the designs made by the designer Tokujay. Here we can see that the artist managed to capture all the essence of this theme, and we can see how amazing this style really is. Besides the theme of the ancient civilization, they also mix some things based on Zeo crystals, and that is why the helmets have those geometric figures. Number 9. Power Rangers RPM has a theme of cars and speed. We know that Turbo Season also has this same theme, but we must admit that RPM knew how to take better advantage of it. One of the things I like the most about this style that RPM has are the belts on the suits, as they are identical to the belts used by professional car racers. In addition, the suits also have some wheels in various places, and all this creates a great combination. Despite all those awesome details, I think the best of all are the blasters, as it is the same thing we use to fuel the cars, and I think that was an excellent idea. Number 8. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but we are going to refer to the first season since here the initial theme is more marked. Although many think that the style of this season is dinosaurs, the reality is that it is based on prehistoric animals. In this season we can see the Tyrannosaurus, but we can also see the Mastodon, which is not a dinosaur. Although the costume design has nothing of the prehistoric animal style, the helmets do have this style. My favorite part of this season's theme is the Zords, as it completely captures the style of the animals and machines. Number 7. Power Rangers SPD has become the favorite season for many fans, and one of the reasons is because of its theme based on cops. When we were kids, many of us wanted to become policemen, and they are the first heroes who risk their lives to save others. That is why this style works very well for a children's series, and in this season they knew how to take advantage of this theme very well. The Zords, the costumes, the command center, the ranks, and even the way in which they catch the villains has a marked police style. Number 6. Power Rangers Mystic Force is based on magic and natural elements. I know that many will criticize me for including this season in this list, since many did not like this season, but the reality is that I am a big fan of magic. Another thing I should mention is that creating a theme based on magic is very complex, since you can create something ridiculous for superheroes. Normally, in superhero stories the wizards are almost always the villains, and we have seen that many times in Power Rangers. However, in this season the Rangers also use the magic style, and everything looks amazing. Number 5. In this position we are going to mention Power Rangers Wild Force and Jungle Fury, because they have a very similar theme. Both seasons have a different style, but their themes are based on wild animals. Obviously, each season has different things, but the basic style is wild animals, and because both seasons knew how to use this style well, then I must mention both of them. From the helmets, the Zords, the costumes, and everything that involves these two seasons, they have a spectacular style. Number 4. Power Rangers Ninja Storm. The only thing wrong with its theme is the season logo, but everything else is amazing. The style of this series is a combination of ninja and atmospheric natural phenomena. This includes winds, tornadoes, storms, thunderstorms, and many other things. I think this theme was a great combination since the power of nature is one of the most impressive things in real life, and the way they combined all this with the ninja style was perfect. Number 3. Power Rangers Dino Thunder. And in this season we can already talk about dinosaurs. We know that there are other seasons that also use dinosaurs as a theme, but in my opinion I think Dino Thunder used this style better, and that's why I don't include the other seasons. I have even previously said that the costumes of this series are among the best costumes of the entire franchise, and this is partly due to the style of the series. By the way, a curious fact about this season is that they never had a Pink Ranger. However, in the comic Power Rangers Unlimited of the Morphin Masters, the emissary that accompanies Kimberly was transformed into the Pink Ranger of Dino Thunder, and it can be seen in the logo on her chest. Number 2. In this position we are going to talk about a small controversy, and it is that the series that I want to include here is Megaforce, but I am also going to mention Super Megaforce. Let's explain this as briefly as possible, and that is that Megaforce is based on angels and Super Megaforce is based on pirates. However, Saban wanted to ignore the theme of Super Megaforce, even though in Sentai this is the style it has. To understand this better, in Sentai, Megaforce is one team and Super Megaforce is a different team. This is why both seasons in Sentai are different, but in Power Rangers they decided to merge them, and this is why they had so many strange changes. The controversy of all this is bigger, but we must continue with the video and mention that both themes are awesome. Number 1. In the third season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers everything changed, and the Rangers started with a different ninja style. This theme has always been my favorite, and I can't hide my love for the costumes the Rangers used. Although there are other seasons based on ninjas, I think the Mighty Morphin costumes with the ninjetti power were the ones that best captured the essence of the real ninjas. Normally, ninjas use black in their costumes since they must not be seen by their enemy, but since this is a fantasy series, it was spectacular to be able to see these costumes with different colors. Now I am going to introduce you to the Power Rangers team that I have created, and has the theme of the elements of nature, but with a little change. We start with the Blue Ranger, the leader of this team, who uses the water element, but normally he will use it in the form of ice or snow. His main weapon is an ice axe, and this ranger also has the power to control water in any of its forms. He is a very intelligent ranger, and his best talent is to create strategies. We continue with the Green Ranger, which uses the earth element, and this is going to be a wild ranger that will dominate the entire jungle. His main weapon is a magic hammer with which he can break any rock, create earthquakes, and protect him from any spell. Next is the Red Ranger, which uses the fire element. This ranger does not burn with anything, heat does not affect him, and he has the power to throw fire and volcanic lava. His main weapon is a fire sword that can cut anything, and his personality is to be a very reserved ranger because he gets angry easily. The last ranger is the Yellow Ranger, and she is the small change because instead of using the air element, I decided to make this ranger use energy. This ranger always lives in the big cities, and you can mistake her for anyone, but she really has the power to control electrical energy, including thunder. Her main weapon is a futuristic gun that simply works to channel all the energy and direct it to a specific point. His personality is very cheerful, he talks a lot and never gets tired. His suit has a more futuristic style due to the fact that he comes from the future, but since the right technology does not exist in this era, she could not return to her real time. These four Rangers are very different in everything, but because the Blue Ranger is a great leader, they will form an excellent team. With the elements fire, water, energy, and earth, this team will be called Power Rangers Elemental Force. Each of us can have different tastes, and if any of your favorite seasons don't appear in this video, you can write them in the comments. What makes each season special is a good script, good acting, and keeping us excited in every episode. Besides that, it also depends on how connected we are to the season, because if you watched a season when you were a kid, you'll be so connected to that season that you'll always think it's the best for you. We should also evaluate the suits, transformations, powers, and the theme. Number 7. We'll start with Power Rangers SPD Season 13, aired in 2005. This series has a police style in which they catch the enemies as if they were arresting them just like normal police. They also use phrases, logos and Zords, very police style. The costumes are very well designed, including the helmets that are always important in all Power Rangers costumes. The transformation has very good presentation and their characters are well built. The script of this series started out very serious, plus they included the first Omega Ranger of the franchise. One of the things I like most about this season is Commander Kruger, who is a high-level mentor, and best thing of all is that he is also a Power Ranger. Number 6. The next season is Power Rangers Zeo, season number 4, aired in 1996. What I like most about this season is that it is still somewhat connected to Mighty Morphin, as it has several characters that made the jump to Zeo. The Zeo crystals were so powerful that they have been commented on throughout the history of the comics. Obviously, as we expected, the acting was still of the same quality, as they are almost all the same actors as the past seasons. The villains of this season started off strong, as the Machine Empire managed to make Rita and Zed leave Earth, which makes us feel that they are more powerful and darker. One of the best things Power Rangers Zeo had was the Gold Ranger and the arrival of Jason to the series. The Gold Ranger's powers have been so iconic that after many years fans still love this character and his transformation. Number 5. Another favorite season is Power Rangers in Space from 1998. This is season number 6, and it was the last of the Zordon era, giving a culmination to one of the best sagas in history. We all know that Zordon will always be one of the most iconic characters in the entire franchise, and this season was his last appearance due to his passing. This alone makes the season memorable, but this is not the only thing that makes this season one of the best. The villains of this saga make the story much more entertaining, and besides that, we have one of the best villains in all of history, Astronema, who later ends up being part of the Power Rangers and sister of the Red Ranger. All this makes the plot iconic, and its characters will be remembered forever. Finally, we must mention its Red Ranger, which has been one of the best Red Rangers of the whole franchise. Number 4. In 2001, it was presented what would be one of the best seasons of Power Rangers that would mark the history of the franchise. Power Rangers Time Force, being season number 9, which had a very good idea from the beginning with time travel. In this season we are introduced to one of the best villains in history, Rancic, which is considered the best villain by many fans and one of the few villains who actually was never defeated. Time Force was able to make history because even though Wes is the central protagonist, it is the only series that has a female Pink Ranger as the leader. Another thing I like is that there are two Red Rangers. One is Wes, who is the main Red Ranger and is considered one of the best Rangers in the franchise. The other is Eric, the Quantum Ranger, who is the sixth Ranger this season and one of my favorite Red Rangers. Although the costume design is very simple, the helmets have been iconic since the visor is the same color as the costume and not black like the helmets in all the other seasons. Number 3. Power Rangers RPM was the 17th season, released in 2009, and it quickly became a series that greatly changed the franchise. This season had a storyline aimed more at an older audience, and that was the biggest shift it made. Normally, Power Rangers has always been a show targeted toward children, but Power Rangers RPM made a huge difference with its darker and more serious story. Although the special effects in this season aren't my favorites, we have to say that the dark storyline and all the drama made it one of the best seasons in history. Number 2. Power Rangers Dino Fury was excellent, but I must say that Power Rangers Cosmic Fury was even better due to its different format. Cosmic Fury was the last season of Power Rangers and premiered in 2023, but despite being the last, it truly made an incredible change. All Power Rangers series follow the same format where each episode isn't highly connected to the previous one, but Power Rangers Cosmic Fury connected all the episodes, making it feel like a 10-episode movie. Another great thing was that it had very few Sentai scenes, the suits were original, and we had many surprises. The significant involvement of the Morphin Masters was excellent, having Lord Zedd as the lead villain was also great, and Ollie turned out to be an excellent villain for the story. Another fantastic part was having Billy as both a mentor and a part of the team. Other great surprises were finally seeing the Dark Ranger transform and Mick becoming the Red Ranger. Number 1. I know many may not agree, but for me, the best season will always be the first, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This is not just because of nostalgia, but because it's the series that started it all and made history forever. Mighty Morphin has many advantages in its favor. For example, being the first, it didn't feel repetitive compared to any other Power Rangers series. We can also say it had the best Red Ranger in history and the most recurring Ranger in the entire franchise, Tommy Oliver. Both Rangers have been pivotal to the franchise and are two icons after 30 years of history. Add to this their mentor Zordon, who was a revolutionary character for that time, with his face appearing inside a glass tube, which was innovative back then. Moreover, Zordon marked an era as the best mentor in the entire franchise and is remembered by all Power Rangers fans. Great superhero series are recognized by having great villains, and Rita Repulsa has been one of the best villains we've seen. She's a witch with all the right elements to be a great character, and you know it when fans love the villain rather than hate them. After the Morphin, each Ranger transforms into a different costume, but what changes the most is almost always the helmet. In several seasons of Power Rangers, the helmets are different for each Ranger, and it all depends on the theme of that season. Today we won't talk about the costumes because even though the costume and helmet are a complete uniform, sometimes the costumes are all the same and only the colors change. However, helmets change most of the time. Today we'll talk about the best helmets I've seen in Power Rangers. Leave in the comments your favorite helmets and remember that each Ranger has a different helmet, so you can mention the season and the color of the Ranger. I'm going to start with my favorite helmet and it's on my favorite Ranger. The Black Ranger from Mighty Morphin with the Mastodon helmet. This season we know that the theme is prehistoric animals, and the Black Ranger has the power of the mastodon. This is an extinct animal that was like a hairy elephant with big tusks. That is why the helmet has two tusks on the sides, and in the center, it has lines like the mastodon's trunk. As a curious fact, many people confuse the mastodon with the mammoth, and they are not the same animal, although they are very similar. My second favorite helmet is the Mighty Morphin White Ranger helmet, as it has a nice color combination with white, gold and black. This Ranger's power comes from the white tiger, and if we look at the top of the helmet, we will see the lines that the white tiger has on his head. This is a subtle, but effective detail, as it gives him that presence of the white tiger and therefore influences leadership. One of the changes that I really liked in this helmet is the part of the mouth being flat without the shape of the lips, then changed the perspective. Let's continue with Commander Kruger's helmet, which has the shape of the commander's two ears. The shape of the black visor gives it a very future style and combines very well with the shape of the ears. One detail that I really liked about all SPD Rangers is that they have the police insignia in the front of the helmet. This detail is very important, as this season is based on a police style and they always wear the badge all over the uniform. The only thing we don't know about this helmet is how the commander can put his whole nose inside the helmet. This is a Power Rangers mystery. Another amazing helmet is the Dino Thunder White Ranger helmet, which has a fierce style. The theme of this season was dinosaurs, and that is why the style should be with many cuts and lines to look like dinosaur markings. Even though this helmet is quite simple, it has something that makes it spectacular, and that is that the visor of the helmet is red and has an incredible shape. Another thing is that it has a wing on the top that is very similar to those of your dinosaur. From this same season we must also mention the Black Ranger, and basically for the same reasons. In this case the helmet is black with golden details. In the Jungle Fury season there are two Rangers that have very striking helmets that carry the name of the series very well. The Purple Ranger and the Red Ranger, both of which have a very wild design and make you feel like you are inside the jungle. The red one is a simpler helmet with only two colors, yet the lines and design look great. Also, the red and black colors are colors that make you feel empowered and something very wild, like the theme of the season. The purple one has a design on the sides that makes the helmet very different from the others, plus it has a combination of three colors. Explaining these designs is a bit complicated, but just looking at them is enough to know that they are very good. Finally, the season that had the best helmets was Power Rangers Wild Force. This season has 6 Rangers, and 4 of those Rangers have spectacular helmets. We can start with the Black Ranger's helmet that has a very similar design to his animal. The Black Ranger's power comes from the bison, a very large and powerful animal with small horns. The bison is dark in color, and so it suits the Black Ranger. Plus the helmet also has the small horns of the bison. Those little horns give it a very different detail than all the other helmets in the franchise. Next is the Red Ranger helmet, which has the power of the lion. What I like most about this helmet is that when we see it face to face, we can see the lion's gaze, and that causes intimidation to the enemy. We can see the yellow eyes, nose and fangs of the lion in the visor of the helmet. The colors of this helmet are very simple, but its design is so good that it doesn't need to have many colors to look amazing. After that we have the Silver Ranger helmet, which has the power of the wolf. Just like the Red Ranger design, this helmet we can also see the look of the animal, but here we have a mix of colors that makes the helmet look modern and wild at the same time. The ears, the fangs on the helmet visor and the red eyes also causes intimidation to the enemy. Finally, the White Tiger is repeated, and the White Ranger of this season has one of the best helmets in the history of the franchise, and the impressive thing is that even though it has an animal that was already used in the series previously, even so, its design was spectacular. In this helmet they use again the lines of the tiger's head, but the pink color gives it a special and feminine touch. The big yellow eyes stand out very well in the design, and the silver jaw gives it a very wild touch as well. If you like helmets, like this video, and subscribe to this channel for more Power Rangers designs. Despite Power Rangers being a series aimed at all ages, the reality is that they have created very good villains, and, on many occasions, they are even scary. In addition, in the comics, which are aimed at a more adult audience, we can also see excellent villains. After 30 years of history, we can make many lists of the most powerful villains. Here is my list, don't forget to leave yours in the comments. In this list, I am not going to add Ivan Ooze because he is not canon, and we have a complete video about this powerful villain. Let's start by talking about Emperor Grum from Power Rangers SPD, who is one of the ugliest and creepiest villains to ever appear in the series. With a skeletal body and glowing red eyes, he looks like death, and this makes him look more menacing. He has conquered and massacred several worlds, and he has also tried it with the Earth. His ship alone can destroy an entire planet, and although this villain worked for Onmi, a great malevolent brain that was behind all the plans, and that Grum was only attacking the Earth to get the resources to create him a body, even so, the one who did all the dirty work was Grum. This powerful villain tormented the Kruger for a long time, lying to him about the death of his wife, and Grum had her kidnapped and alive. Another powerful villain is Lothar from Power Rangers Ninja Storm. This villain was a psychotic ninja master who led his own army. He aimed to destroy all the ninja academies so he could be the one and only ultimate dark ninja master. He was so insane that he kidnapped students from the ninja academy run by his brother and turned his brother into a guinea pig. Although the series shows a fun, goofy, fourth wall breaking Lothar, this villain was really a psychopath who was capable of anything, including killing the parents of the Thunder Rangers. His greatest attribute is his personality, which can confuse you as he pretends to be a good and gentle person when he is a villain with no feelings or remorse. Let's move on to a more well-known villain, Divatox, a space pirate who has a war with the Power Rangers Turbo. This villain may fool you with her pretty appearance, but she is actually rotten inside. Although she may not look like such a powerful villain, she is the only villain who was able to defeat the Power Rangers in the TV series. This villain is in search of fame and wealth, which is why she roams the universe in a galactic submarine plundering worlds to quench her thirst for greatness. This pirate participated in the kidnapping of Zordon and was in charge of hiding him in different worlds while his powers were taken away. One of the most famous and powerful villains is Lord Zed. He is the villain who controlled Rita for many years, although he later married her. He even forced Golder to kill his own brother to prove his loyalty. This villain is so powerful that he managed to destroy the Power Rangers' Zords, in addition to kidnapping several of them and nearly destroying them. His physique is very scary because he has a burned body with metallic bones and a mask with a red crystal, plus he carries a cane which helps him to channel all his power. Lord Zed was so dark and terrifying when he came to the series that many parents complained and had to modify this character a bit to make him not so dark. If we talk about space villains, we must talk about Astronema from Power Rangers in Space. In the United Alliance of Evil, she was only surpassed by Dark Spectre, and when he was not there she took over as the Princess of Evil. She was raised at the hands of Ecliptor for the purpose she fulfilled, to be heir to Dark Spectre's throne. Astronema has been one of the few villains who has managed to kill a Ranger. She managed to trap the Pink Ranger of the Prisma Rangers and tried to get the location of Zordon from her, but since the Pink Ranger didn't tell her anything, Astronema crushed her spine, causing her instant death. One villain that many fans have said is one of the most powerful is Rancic from Power Rangers Time Force. This villain is a mutant who comes from the year 3000 and travels to the past and fights against the Power Rangers. Because of his appearance, he was rejected and outcast, and this gives him motivation to do evil. His humanoid appearance makes him feel a little more real, and I think the terror in the viewer is greater because beyond looking like a fantasy, it seems a reality. This villain has been one of the few that the Rangers of his time could not defeat him. They even managed to catch him only because he surrendered and gave himself up. Although there are other villains such as Dark Spectre that could be on this list, I only wanted to focus on those who had direct battles with the Power Rangers, and this includes the multiverse, and therefore, Lord Draken, for me, would be the villain of villains. Lord Draken, formerly known as Tommy Oliver, is a villain from an alternate universe, who, unlike the Tommy Oliver we know, agreed to stay with Rita after coming out of his spell. After learning the spells that Rita taught him, he killed her to become the main conqueror of the world. This villain managed to kill several Rangers and transformed Kimberly into his servant, in addition to defeating Jason after stealing the power of the White Ranger and fusing it with the power of the Green Ranger. Lord Draken was driven by the evil inside him and the distrust he had in everyone. He even told the Rangers that friends were useless. He created a whole army dressed as Rangers, and each one had a specific function, and transformed his world into a chaos full of darkness and terror. We know that the list can go on and on because after 30 years of history, Power Rangers has a lot of very good villains, so leave in the comments which other villains you would add to this list and why. If you like Power Rangers villains, like this video and subscribe to this channel for more Power Rangers badassery.